Greetings. Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. And today's episode is episode 130. Today is Monday. We're going to be talking about the Russian-Ukrainian war again. Surprise, surprise. The general staff of the Ukrainian armed forces denied Russian President Vladimir Putin's claim over the weekend that Russian forces had fully retaken the Kursk region, where Ukraine launched an offensive last year. In a statement after Putin made the announcement on April 26th, the Ukrainian military says their operation in certain areas in the Kursk region continues. The statement by Ukraine says the situation is difficult, but that our units continue to hold certain positions. Putin's announcement is nothing more than a propaganda ploy, the statement said. Ukraine said it also still has active troops in certain areas of the Belgorod region of Russia. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky corroborated the claim on Sunday during his evening address, saying, "Our military continues to operate in the Kursk and Belgorod regions. We maintain our presence in Russia." In a video statement Saturday, Putin claimed that Russian forces have retaken all of Kursk, the Russian region northeast of Ukraine, where Ukrainian forces had launched an offensive and had managed to hold territory since the summer of 2024. Putin congratulated military personnel and said Ukraine's offensive has completely failed. Moscow had been trying to push Ukrainian forces out of Kursk since they seized a chunk of the border region in a daring August offensive, marking the first time that Kiev's forces had seized and held significant Russian territory since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine began in 2022. Russian forces, supported by North Korean troops, had been slowly trying to reclaim ground in the region over the past several months. United States President Donald Trump, meanwhile, criticized the recent attacks by Russia and Ukraine, suggesting on his social media platform on April 26 that Putin may not want to stop the war in Ukraine. With all of that being said, there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days, Trump said. So here's my opinion on this whole thing. Now, first of all, in war, it is not unusual for generals and politicians to lie about any given situation. In fact, politicians don't even need a war. In the Russian-Ukraine war, that is undoubtedly true. Both sides lie. But I would say that Ukraine, if you listen to their statements, they're basically saying they're still there. They've still got a presence there. It may not be as robust as it once was, but it's still there. And that's really their goal all along, was not to gain the territory and hold it forever. It was a political ploy on their part, figuring that somewhere along the line they were going to have to get in some kind of a negotiation with Russia. This gives them trading material, if you will. So in the Russian-Ukraine war, like I said, it's undoubtedly true that both sides have lied. But Putin is a proven and very capable liar. I wouldn't say he's all that believable, although I know liberals believe him a lot. And other people do. There's people on both sides of the aisle, I guess, who believe him. I wouldn't put much stock in him and myself. He was born a liar, and he's lied all his life. That's my opinion. Now, there is no reason to believe him now. Have the Russians regained any of the land around Kursk? Probably. But that is far away from what he is claiming. The truth is, Russia is reeling. The army has been decimated. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands have either been killed or captured. His allies, the North Koreans, have also suffered in this war. They may be performing better than the Russians, but that's not saying a whole lot. And so they're paying a huge price for whatever land they're regaining. And on top of all that, the Russian economy is on the verge of collapse. Been there for a while now, and which means to me that it's getting worse. You could also read, oh, maybe it's stabilizing. I don't really think it is, but it could be. But there's been so much damage, it's going to take a long time to recover. Russia will someday, and I've talked about this in the past, Russia will someday be strong enough to go against Israel. If Ukraine can defeat Russia the way it has, what hope would Russia have against Israel? Israel's got a powerful army, an air force. They're a small nation, just like Ukraine is, but they can mount up a pretty good defense. In the Book of Revelation, it talks about Russia coming along with its allies, but Russia is the dominant power, as it talks about. Now, Russia did not mention it per se, but most people believe it's Russia. So I think Putin's only hope is to fool the West into conceding to Russian demands, which I don't think that's working. The people to the immediate West, Europe, see him as a liar, see him as maybe a little bit of a nutcase with his hand not too far from the nuclear button. But he's smart enough and sane enough, I think, that he knows that if he pushes that button, he'll destroy much of Europe, kill a lot of people, but he and his people could very well disappear. It would take a long time for Russia to ever recover from that. And so that holds, and that's not even with U.S. involvement. If the U.S. Gets involved, it's even a worst case scenario for him. So I don't think he's a fool himself. He's fool enough that this is sort of a play on words, I guess. He's fool enough that he's fooling himself into believing that he can win this war. But at the same time, he knows that he's kind of relying on falsehoods and lies of trying to using the diplomacy and things of this nature to accomplish what his military has not been able to accomplish. Meanwhile, President Trump is watching. To take President Trump as a fool, you do so at your own peril. And Putin is taking President Trump as a fool, it looks like. He should know better. But people like Putin, when they start believing their own lies, they overlook things that they may have already known. They may think that they're smart enough that they can pull something off. And so he believes his own lies. That's why he can get up there and look you straight in the eye and say something. He believes he's telling the truth. Now, maybe if you want to give him a benefit of the doubt, maybe he's listening to his generals who are lying to him, telling him only what they know he wants to hear, and then he's relying on that, and then he still believes what he's saying, but not really truly lying himself. Yeah, there's a possibility of that too. I am sure President Trump has at his fingertips the truth. We have one of the best intelligence agencies around the world. And so they got their fingertips on this. They're watching from the skies, out from outer space. They're watching. They know what's going on. They probably know exactly where the Russian troops are, where the Ukrainian troops are, the whole thing. And they could probably draw a map showing who's got what. And so President Trump, I think, is still, he's debating on whether to walk away and actually walk away or to fake a walk away. We won't know the difference when it happens because he's like a gambler or a card player. He's holding his cards close to his chest so that nobody can see what he's up to. But in the end, he's got a plan. And I believe he's not only got a plan, but I believe he also has contingency plans. If it sort of goes like this: if Putin does this, then the U.S. will do that. If Zelensky does that, then the U.S. will do this. It is like watching a chess master at work, and they know, they have all the moves, they know the counter moves, everything, and they're just watching, waiting for you to make a mistake. Personally, I wonder how much longer Putin can last. Russian mothers are losing sons and daughters. Russian fathers are seeing their families endangered and don't know how to stop it. They're seeing their jobs disappear. They're seeing their when their wives, or maybe they go with their wives, I don't know, but when they go shopping, they can't afford things that are necessities. If the necessities are available, they're so priced out of reach that they can't purchase them. So I think that there's a very delicate thing going on here. Putin is on a tightrope, so to speak. We need to wait patiently. I think that's what Trump is doing. He's watching him, and I don't know. He might be pulling some strings behind the curtain, so to speak. I think that we should let Putin play out the rope that will eventually hang him, or at least give him an early retirement. That's it for today. If you like this channel, I want you to be sure to right below here. There's an opportunity for you to subscribe to my channel, TR Independent Books. When you do, you get this particular one, Christian News and Views, where I give you the news and then I give you my opinion, and you can separate the two pretty easy. You can agree with me or disagree with me. I don't pretend that my views are facts. My views are my views based on the facts as I understand them. Then there are the facts. Now, when I read those facts, a lot of times they have opinion in them. So that's something you have to be aware of. But not my opinion, it's whoever the reporter is, their opinion. That's the way they do reporting nowadays. They report their opinion as if it's fact. And it's not good. It's bad. It's bad reporting. And they're being taught this at school. I think it's terrible. So, but in any case, you get my opinion, and you can agree or disagree with me. When you subscribe to the channel, you not only get Christian News and Views, you also get Becoming a Published Author is Fun, which is a podcast that I do that is providing information to authors that they can, or people who want to become authors. I have a course, Basic Authors Training, and I also have, and that reaches, we'll train them how to write, and will actually result in their being published. I also have Ministry Publishing. We'll take people who know how to write, or at least have a good, strong concept on it, and I'll work with them, and they'll get published. And I have clients now who are approaching getting published on their own. I'm rather excited about it. And so, all this said and done, when you subscribe, you encourage me to the point that I want to inform you, encourage you, and inspire you. In case of as a writer, an author, I want to inspire you to be the best author you can be. In case of a Christian citizen of the country, and you could say of the world, I want to provide you a Christian viewpoint. My viewpoint is from a Christian and conservative worldview. And again, you're free to disagree with me. Just know it's a Christian view based on the Bible. And I believe, and I know in my heart, I know in my mind, my soul, however you want to say it, the Bible is the Word of God. And so I'm on safe ground when I agree with what he has to say. When I agree with it and trust it. So that's it for today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.